Hi, and welcome to this lecture about logistic regression. Logistic regression is used when the output is categorical in nature. For example, the output is either a yes or no, true or false, red, green, or blue, 1, 2, 3, or 4, etc. In a binary classification problem, the output can only be 2. For example, if we have an input X, say an image, and we have to classify it as having an iPhone or not, the output of the neural network will be 1, otherwise it will be 0. Now let us illustrate this mathematically using logistic regression. Let's consider this image as an input X, and we want to know the probability that this image contains an iPhone. For a given X vector, the output of the equation will be as follows. Now, don't get a shock. We're going to explain this step by step. Here we have W and B, which are parameters for the logistic regressions. Since our output, which is yhat, is a probability, it should range between 0 and 1, and therefore a logistic regression uses a sigmoid function to output the probabilities. So the sigmoid function is presented as this. The parameters to be tuned are W and B, and our input variable is represented as X here. This is the graph for the sigmoid, and as we can see, if the value of Z is infinitely high, let's say 1,000, 20,000, whatever, it will always be confined to the value of 1. And if the value is infinitely negative, then it will be as close as possible to 0, but not quite touching 0. The same with here, quite close to 1, but not touching 1. This way, a sigmoid curve ensures that the values are confined between 0 and 1. We can also rewrite the inside part, which is encapsulated in the sigmoid, as Z. And then we can rewrite this as the sigmoid curve equation, which we can see over here. Now, we have explained what is the goal of this sigmoid part here. But what is this W, T, and B, and what are these values coming from? Well, these values are actually created by your neural networks. If you remember from the previous lecture, the goal is to estimate Y. So let's say this image has an iPhone. So the probability should be 1. The goal of the neural network is to get this value as close as possible to this value. And that will be the explanation in the next lecture. So the goal of this equation here is for the neural network to tune this variable and this variable, plug it in this sigmoid curve, and gets a number that should be as close as possible to this value. And X here is the input from this image. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please post it in the comment section below. Otherwise, if you're enjoying this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will be posting more. Thank you.